If you've been tracking the 2026 World Cup, and let's be honest, how could you not? You know we've officially crossed that threshold. We are out of the group stages and straight into the absolute, unfiltered chaos of the knockout rounds. The single elimination matrix is officially set. The stakes, literally unimaginably high. We're about to see some of the most fascinating tactical clashes in modern international football. So today, we're mapping out your ultimate viewer guide. We're breaking down exactly what you need to know for the round of 32 and figuring out exactly when and where these massive flashpoints are happening across the United States. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's kick things off with a quote that pretty much sums up this entire tournament perfectly. Football has officially dissolved into absolute theater. I mean, hit the nail right on the head, right? Usually, major tournaments follow a pretty predictable script. The traditional giants cruise through, the underdogs bow out. But man, not this time. The group stages just delivered what has to be the single greatest underdog storyline in the entire history of international football. And honestly, understanding how that happened is absolutely crucial to grasping the whole layout of this round of 32 bracket. Which brings us to Section 1, the Cabo Verde Miracle. Now, think about this for a second. Before the tournament even kicked off, literally zero statistical models or predictive algorithms had the Blue Sharks advancing to the knockout playoff phase. Zero. But they completely defied mathematical logic to keep their tournament hopes alive. And they didn't do it with some flashy, high-scoring blowout either. No, they did it with sheer grit. Look at the scoreline, 0-0. It might look a little boring on paper, sure, but this grueling, super high-friction draw against Saudi Arabia on the final match day, it was an absolute masterpiece of survival. It wasn't just a game, it was a pure war of attrition. By grinding out this exact result, Cabo Verde officially locked down second place in Group H. And in doing so, they just completely blew up the expected bracket, setting up an absolute blockbuster clash. And that leads us into Section 2, David versus Goliath. So the Blue Sharks are stepping straight out of the group stages and directly into the roaring lights of the knockouts. And who do they face? None other than the reigning world champions themselves, Argentina, who just cruised right through Group J to grab an elite seed. And as you can see here, this illustrates the ultimate tactical X factor of this crazy matchup. You've got Argentina's elite attack, defined by Lionel Messi's clinical tight space orchestration. They want to play that intricate, suffocating football right around the penalty area. But colliding directly with that is Cabo Verde's incredibly stubborn, unbreakable, low-block spirit. You know, Cabo Verde knows they aren't going to dominate possession, right? So they are relying heavily on rapid isolation counter outlets. The big question is, can the kings of world football pick the lock? Or is Cabo Verde's compact defensive unit going to frustrate them right into a counterattacking trap? That's the narrative context that makes this an absolute must-watch. War of attrition. Make sure to mark your calendars for this main event. Argentina versus Cabo Verde. It's going down Friday, July 3rd at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the venue? It's the Hard Rock Stadium down in Miami, Florida. I can tell you right now, the atmosphere in Miami for this one is going to be completely electric. You seriously do not want to miss the moment Cabo Verde steps out onto that pitch to challenge the world champions. All right, moving right along to Section 3, the Round of 32 Viewer Guide. Now, while Cabo Verde is totally capturing the world's imagination right now, let's zoom out and look at the chronological roadmap of the whole single elimination matrix unfolding across the US. We kick things off on June 29th up in Boston. Then we get this massive doubleheader on June 30th, split between MetLife Stadium in New Jersey and the stadium down in Dallas. And finally, on July 3rd, the action completely spans the country, going from Miami right back to Dallas. The geographical spread of these high-stakes fixtures is just phenomenal. It's going to be a wild few days. So here is your logistical grid for these newly formalized super high-stakes fixtures. Let's get into the schedule. On Monday, June 29th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, Germany takes on Paraguay in Boston. Then the very next day, Tuesday, June 30th, is just an absolute feast for football fans. We've got Côte d'Ivoire battling Norway in a Dallas matinee at 1 p.m. Eastern, followed by France versus Sweden at 5 p.m. Eastern over at MetLife Stadium. Okay, let's actually break down the tactical storylines for each of these three massive games, starting with Germany. Looking at that first matchup in Boston, we are in for a truly classic clash of styles. Germany is bringing this terrifying, super fluid interior passing attack, spearheaded by the absolutely incredible Jamal Musiala. They just want the ball moving rapidly through those half spaces. Paraguay, on the other hand, they counter that with a highly physical central midfield block. Their entire game plan, literally the whole thing, will be to throttle that German creativity, break up their rhythm, and try to turn the match into an absolute physical scrap. It's going to be fascinating. Then, shifting gears to the MetLife class on June 30th, the really crucial point in this France versus Sweden game is seeing if pure lethal transition speed can actually crack a towering physical wall. Because France is going to be relying heavily on Kylian Mbappe's vertical attacking transitions. I mean, you give him an inch of space and he is just gone. But Sweden knows this. They aren't going to give him that space to run into. They're deploying a physical mid-block shape combined with towering aerial dominance. Basically, they're forcing France to either try and beat them in the air or break down this deeply entrenched stationary defense. It's a total chess match. And then for our Dallas matinee that same day, oh man, we are going to witness an absolute titanic clash of physical execution. Norway has Erling Haaland's clinical frontline execution. The guy is just a physical specimen who can finish from literally anywhere. But he is clashing directly with Côte d'Ivoire, a team that boasts incredibly robust, high-intensity physical defensive metrics. So this isn't just going to be a tactical game of chess, this is going to be a heavy-hitting battle of strength, endurance, and pure physical dominance right there in the Texas heat. All right, let's fast forward a bit, jumping ahead to Friday, July 3rd. While everyone is waiting for that huge Argentina-Cabo Verde clash in Miami later in the evening, Dallas actually hosts another massive locked-in fixture earlier in the day at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We've got Australia taking on Egypt. And I gotta say, this one is super fascinating from a tactical perspective, because this match gives us just a brilliant contrast in strategic setups. On one hand, we have the Socceroos. They're bringing this highly disciplined, defensive low-block shape to the table. They are notoriously difficult to break down, incredibly patient. And stepping up against them is Egypt, bringing their newly qualified, technically clinical transitional system. Egypt really wants to absorb the pressure and then strike with rapid, precise technical passing on the break. So the big question here is, who blinks first, right? Can Egypt's fast transitional system actually find gaps in a disciplined first Australian wall? We'll have to wait and see. Finally, let's jump to Section 4, heavyweights on the brink. So, while those round of 32 fixtures we just went over are totally locked in stone, there's a final wave of elite squads. We're talking England, Portugal, Ghana, Colombia, and Spain, who are currently playing out their final group match days. Now, they are mathematically through to the knockouts, yes, but they absolutely cannot take their foot off the gas. They are battling intensely right now to determine their exact seedings, and there is one very specific prize they are all just desperate to secure. And that prize is the bracket shield. Securing this shield is exactly what these giants are fighting for. It's basically a highly coveted top seed position. And why does this matter so much? Well, without it, you risk stepping straight into a really dangerous runner-up trap in the round of 32. That forces you to play against another elite tournament favorite way earlier than anyone wants to. I mean, absolutely no heavyweight wants an early knockout exit, just because they kind of slipped up in their final group game, you know? So, what does this all mean? The total chaos of the round of 32 is fully set, and the entire world is watching. Will these heavyweights secure their bracket shields and survive the runner-up traps? Or, as we've already seen with the Cabo Verde miracle, is this the year the traditional giants finally fall? Keep this viewer guide handy, enjoy the absolute theater of this World Cup, and I'll catch you guys next time as we continue to break down the tactics and the madness